Yo! This is a video about my level 84 Bowzon. Just to show her off, just to let the world know how I built the character. And actually, I mean, I think it's a kind of a cool build because I don't have a wind force. I've only got an upped gold strike. Because I've only been playing Lord of Destruction for about probably a year and a half, 2 years now, maybe a year and a half. I think is closer. So I don't have a lot of, and believe me, during this 2020 quarantine, I have magic found the shit out of Mephisto. But um, I just haven't found a win force. I don't have like a bunch of like the really top tier shit, and I don't have a lot of rune words. So, anyways, I just wanted to show off this build because it's like very. It was a tough build for me to make because it's so fragile and you have to like play it very specific ways, and like the gear changed a lot until right now. And I've leveled from about 82 to 80, almost 85, doing bail runs with this build, and it works pretty well. So anyways, the skills, I really like hybrid builds. So I wanted to do a mix of physical damage and elemental damage. And I thought freezing arrow would be a little bit better, just because immolation arrow has like a casting delay, so you can't just keep firing them. And I feel like bosons are all about like kiting back and forth. You're shooting your shit. You're hua 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 hua. So actually, that I think that's like one of the coolest parts about bosons, and actually one of the coolest parts about this build in particular. So I use multiple shot, strafe, and freezing arrow primarily, and it's kind of cool because like strafe, you're just kind of locked in place. Like this is what you use when you are confident that you're just gonna like out damage whatever's fighting you. But then you've got multiple shot that you can kind of kite with as well, like against a whole bunch of enemies. And then if they're like tightly grouped, then you just go ahead and kite with freezing arrow. So it's kind of a cool playstyle, um, but it's also pretty simple because you don't actually need to use the other two that often unless you're fighting like Black Souls and some really difficult enemies. You can just kind of like hold your right click down and strafe, just like strafe everything in sight, and it works pretty well. So um, I actually had to level this character primarily as a freezing arrows on, because without like a really good bow, and I wasn't able to up this. I didn't have the runes to up it for quite some time, so I primarily leveled through Nightmare and even some of Hell as a freezing arrows on. Um, and then it was only when I got the chance to up this that I started using strafe more, and now strafe is the better skill to use for a majority of the enemies that I fight. And okay. So as far as like the passive skills, I just have 1 point into decoy. I have a couple, enough points into pierce and critical strike to get 50% critical strike. I wish I didn't have this skill shrine on actually, because I only have a +1 to all my skills. So this is actually a level 7, which is like a 64% chance to pierce. So that, along with my razor tail, gives me almost 100%, 94, I think. So that's close enough. I didn't want to spend 2 extra skill points to get a full 100. And then this is at, there we are, 46% chance to critical strike. And that's actually very important. I don't have pretty much any deadly strike on this character, because you have a pretty solid critical chance with just, a couple skill points in there. Critical strike is really good. And then I have decoy, and I don't really use this ever except on bail runs, where I'll just toss it like right where the bail wave is going to spawn, and then just start pelting freezing arrows at it. And then the rest of my points I've just kind of stuck into multiple shot. And I think level 85, I'll have a spread of 20 arrows, so I think at that point, maybe I'll put a couple more points into decoy for extra life, or maybe get that 100% pierce. But if you were like a completely physical Zon, you might max guided arrow and magic arrow. But I kind of wanted to go with like the hybrid route. So here's how I built the gear. And a lot of this has changed. So charms, real quick, most of my charms are just, life, resistance, and attack rating, and none of them are that good. This is like one of the best charms I've ever found, and it's okay. It's not great. Um, the one thing I will say is I do play on Pluggy, but I don't use ladder only rune words. So this is like quote unquote like a single player Amazon. But since Uber Diablo does spawn in Pluggy, I did kill him with this character, and I found a pretty solid Anilus charm actually. Stats, I'll do the stats real quick. I got enough strength just to use my gear, enough vitality just to get like 800 life without my charms and stuff, and then I just pump the rest into dexterity for damage and for attack rating, because your attack rating surprisingly is pretty low. Since strafe doesn't actually give you anything to your attack. It just gives you multiple attacks and damage. Um, so I actually have a demon limb on Switch to get my attack rating almost to 10k, and every level I'll just pump dex in, and every level gives me about 100. So by level 89 I'll have 10k attack rating if I ever get to level 89 with this character. Gold Strike, I think, is the only bow you can really use if you don't have a wind force. I've tried Eaglehorn, an upped Bariza, and an upped Lysander's Aim, and they all do just as good or better damage, but they don't attack quickly enough. So this one has 50% attack speed just inherently on the item, whereas these just like they don't really match up. I would love to use the Bariza, but it just doesn't attack quickly enough. So unfortunately, Gold Strike is primarily what you have to use. I did use Lysander's Aim, the unupped version, when I was mostly leveling, actually, and that was because the crossbow skills it gave me were very useful to my freezing arrow. Interestingly enough, I also primarily leveled using the Crescent Moon Amulet so that I could just life or mana steal. Like I could just kind of only shoot freezing arrows and be okay just like stealing mana back due to the physical portion of my build. But I've swapped that out since for the Atma Scarab. And so these two items kind of make the build. This is your bow, and this is your amulet. So I guess you don't need it, but I wanted to use it, and I think it's a really good choice, because your physical damage is okay, but it's not great. Maybe a Wind Force, your physical damage would be really good, but the chance to cast Amplify damage actually helps quite a bit. So difficult monster packs go down pretty quickly once you have amp damage on them. And because you attack so quickly and you have Pierce and you're attacking so many things, like, you cast amp damage relatively often. And that's really what this is used for. Actually, the Poison Res is probably the second nicest thing on here, actually. The bonus to attack rating is like, 400. It's not a lot. Like a Cat's Eye would give me that, or would give me more than that just from the dex that it gives. But really, I had it lying around and I wasn't using it on any other physical attacker, just like High Lords or Metal Grid was just a better choice. So I was like, let's just try and use it on here. Like, I saw someone else use a build with Atmas, and, I'm down with it. Let's see, I'm using Wartrav's, kind of the standard Bowzon boots. I would love to have more Crushing Blow on here because it's like basically impossible to kill Bale. But I do think this is better for the majority of my play against just regular minions. Then a Duress. This is a relatively cheap armor. Oh, so the reason I brought up Crushing Blow is you could use Gores, you could use Goblin Toes, you could just use Res Boots, since, resistances are kind of hard to find on this character. But I went with Wartrav's. Ravenfrost, obviously. Razortail, again, another obvious choice just to get that extra piercing. And then Duress, yeah, so you could use a couple different armors. I know that some people use Treachery for the attack speed and maybe the Fade proc. Best armor you could use is probably Chains of Honor. But I thought Duress is like sort of a Chains of Honor mini to me, because you get a little bit to all res, and Chains of Honor I think people primarily use, or at least I use it primarily to just increase damage, because it gives 200 damage to demons and 100 damage to undead. 200%, that is. And this gives a little bit of damage. It gives Crushing Blow, it gives Open Wounds, faster hit recovery. Like, those are all really nice. So it's a relatively inexpensive armor. You could use a Smoke for resistances. I just wanted to use the, I thought this was a good middle ground of increasing my offensive capabilities, because without this I actually don't have Crushing Blow. So it's kind of important in that sense. And actually, I don't have Open Wounds either without this. So, good stuff to have the Duress. Laying of Hands were just one of the best mitts in the game, some of the best gloves for PVM. The extra damage to demons, the attack speed, and the fire res are just, like, really useful. The attack speed I actually don't use on this character, though. Like, I could use any other glove, even if it didn't have attack speed, because there's, like, a 50 IAS breakpoint and then a 90, and I decided that instead of putting a Shale in here, I wanted to put a Neff for the knockback. And that may be controversial, but you know what? I figure, like, I'm attacking fast enough as is. Like, I don't really need it. It might be nicer, but, like, I shoot my bow pretty quick, and I strafe pretty quick. So, like, I don't want to, I think the Neff is pretty useful. Having knockback on this character is very, very useful. Because you can stun lock like very dangerous monsters. Like, if I'm fighting a like an elite soul pack. By the way, this character like has a really hard time with souls. I'll just say this straight up. This character, while being hell viable, has a very difficult time against souls and also against those Death Lords in the Worldstone Keep that can't be frozen. Those are just monsters. I'll go into my Merc in a second, but so I mean you could use like plus skills gloves, like I've got somewhere in here. Thank God for Pluggy, I get to keep everything. Yeah, so I've shopped some +3 bow skills, 20 attack speed gloves, like if I just wanted to have a better freezing arrow or strafe and whatnot. But the damage to demons, like regardless of attack speed, is the best there, and the knockback is very useful to like stun lock elites who are super dangerous and about to kill my Merc and stuff. So the Neff rune I'm happy with. And you might be thinking, why not use like a giant skull? Why not use like a different helmet that would give you knockback? And I just found that I didn't have, the rest of this gear I just was really happy with, and this is actually what tied it all together, was a nice life mana bonus, a little bit to resistances, I socketed it with an Ort, and then, actually most importantly, the life and mana steal. So, like, you are so fragile on this character. You have less than 1,000 life. You kind of need to have pretty immense life and mana steal to survive. So I have 15% life steal on this character. Not as high, actually, as some of my melee builds, but it works well enough because you attack so often. But, when I stopped using the Crescent Moon Amulet, which gave, like, a hell of a lot of mana steal, I had to start using, let me just do that real quick. I had to find some way to have mana, just like regeneration of some sort, so I figured that, using Tals, was actually the best way I could do that. So, I mean, this character is pretty strong against just normal mobs, like, and this character crushes the Chaos Sanctuary, because, like, nothing can hit me. Like, I know, okay, like, that, most people say, like, you don't need resistances on this character because you don't get hit. I just like having resistances just in case, because, like, if I didn't have poison resistances, that one poison hit would take, like, half of my life. And if I didn't have, like, a lot of life steal, I would just, like, have to be downing potions left and right. This is also a very easy run of my level 2. Just so you know, like if there's souls, and actually souls are kind of the only thing I have trouble with on the level 2. But if there's souls, it's tough. So I like to just kind of thin the crowd sometimes with multi-shot. Plus, it also kind of lights up the area, so like these kind of dark tunnels like scare the shit out of me because I'm so fragile. So I'll just like stop every once in a while and toss like a multi-shot down there. And then you'll also know if there's monsters because you'll either hear your curse proc or you'll get mana back. Since like multi-shot takes a lot of mana. There we go. Did we drop anything good? No. Oh yeah, so the Merc dies. Okay, so I was having a lot of trouble with the Merc dying. I think he's a little bit better now. He still dies sometimes, which is kind of a bummer. But I'm using a Strength Merc just for my physical damage. I'm not sure if it's actually that much better than a freezing, Holy Freeze Merc. And that might actually protect him better. Wow, this is like a pretty easy run. There's like no monsters that are like really scary so far. So this is actually going much quicker than I thought it was. Like I thought this was going to be like a half-hour long video, and you know, or more, just because I had to take so much time killing souls or something like that, or like the another really tough one. Although they're easy to kill, they just do so much damage. Are about the Blood Witches that shoot those like physical damage stars out. Like my God, they just like murder me. Let's see, what else was I talking about? Oh yeah, so Treachery for the Fade proc is primarily what I use that for on the Merc. It's just like, it's such a good, relatively budget armor. Then Vamp Gaze. I wanted to stack a little bit more physical DR on him because he's so alone. So this is actually a wave where I like to primarily use multi-shot as opposed to strafe, just because it will kill all of Akmel's minions relatively quickly. So I was gonna say at one point that this is a build I have to use a lot of potions on. You actually haven't seen me use a lot of potions this time around. Because we've had a pretty easy run of it. But a lot of the time, it's not so easy, and I am downing health potions like crazy. Wow, that was a really easy council kill too. So you saw me when I was in the World Stone Keep, primarily using strafe. But now for these Veil Waves, I actually primarily use Freezing Arrow, because you can see it just kind of like really keeps them still, and I can just kind of continuously fire because I'm hitting enough of them that my mana steal is good, and it's kind of a Freezing Arrow with Pierce is kind of a sweet skill. Oh shit, my Merc is gonna die. Like even these Minions of Destruction kind of get messed up a little bit. So you see all these Holy Bolts running around. That is actually pretty unhelpful. Oh fuck, he did die. Oh shit, where the fuck did you come from? Alright, just in case I die. I'm gonna open that up. God, this curse sucks. I could have positioned myself better there. I just like was super not thinking about actually playing the game, since I was talking about some shit or whatever. Fuck. Ah! Okay, okay. Oh, fuck! Jesus Christ! Fuck! Oh my God. Oh, so that knockback, very, very important right now. So this is why I have Decoy. Really just for Lister. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh man, what a shame. But yeah, you see, I mean, I'm so fragile. It's just like, you know, if your Merc dies, and he actually had a pretty good time surviving there. You know, without him, you're basically already dead. Oh gosh. I'm gonna go get some arrows real quick and sell this great hauberk. Boom. There we go. So Bale, you know what? I might even just like kill half of Bale and then skip it because you know, he's like such a nightmare for me to try and kill. Like he just does so much damage. All right, I need my merch with me. Holy shit. And like we just don't have any percent damage against him. Like no crushing blow. I mean, we have a little crushing blow, but it's so weak on range characters that like it basically doesn't feel like anything. And I don't know, maybe like a lower resist wand and using my I really don't want my Merc to die again. And using my my freezing arrow more would work out well, but like so I mean that's Bale. That's Bale. And now I'm out of potions. So you know, to hell with it. Wow, I feel like I should go kill Chaos or something like that.
Impossible.
Just like cause like I feel like you didn't really get to see the build in action, or I don't know, maybe you did. Did you? Let's go teleport to the Chaos a little bit, and you know, just cause. But yeah, I mean the build is fun. You know, the Atma's Scarab Curse, like it's kind of cool to use like a rare, or you know, like a rare piece like that. You know, it feels like a shame to find one and then not use it on a build. But it's okay. So another cool part about this build is that because you have like so many attacks going out all at once, like you can kind of like stand and trade with people. Like it's a fragile build, but like your life may like fluctuate down to like 200, but like as long as you keep strafing and attacking, like you do enough damage and leech enough that you can survive and you know kill everyone else. Dude, that's what I love about Freezing Arrow, is like, if they're all clumped together, it procs on every single one, so even though it doesn't do that much damage in the later stages of Hell, it's still, like, an ultra-viable skill, just because, like, if they're clumped, you're doing 4 times as much damage as you normally would. So that's why Pierce is so important for that skill, and why, like, 100% Pierce would be super nice. So, yeah, I was about to tell you about all those holy bolts and shit that are coming around. They're actually really annoying, and that would be like one of the best parts about having a Wind Force would be that the Gold Strike would stop spawning Fist of the Heavens, and you know it's only 5%, but it happens a lot. And you know I don't really care about the holy bolts here, but it will actually give you a cast delay if it casts Fist of the Heavens, where you know, if I'm using Freezing Arrow, I will not be able to Freezing Arrow until the Fist of Heavens has finished casting and shit like that. Oh, does he not have Fate proc right now? Yeah, okay, so that's why he's dying so much. And then, you know, this person doesn't have, like, the quickest chaos clear. Maybe I won't even finish this. You know, I just wanted to kill some more monsters while I talk, but, you know, like, it's a fun build. You get to use a couple pretty cool Amazon bow skills. You know, they all have, like, points where, you know, it's fun to use them, and you'll find when you like to use what, and, like, you know, against what monsters, and like Act 1 is like really fun to use multiple shot with, because like all the fallen and like, you know, the weaker monsters just like get murdered by your multi-shot. You know, you kind of have to use strafe because it does just like a little bit more damage in the later stages against most monsters. But you know, like there's no reason you can't just like mow them all down like this. Might take a little more time, but you know, there you go. Yeah, let's just do it. You know, who says I can't? Who says I can't? All right, I think I'll kill whatever this guy's name is after opening his seals, and then probably take off. But you got to see the build. Yeah, so I mean, this is why this person crushes chaos runs, because like no one can touch me. Holy shit. As I say that, I go down to, you know, 0 HP basically. Wow. Dude, they line up. They always line up just like right in a row, and you just freezing arrow right through them. It's so sick. Boom, boom. Yeah, I mean, that's the build. You know, the gear actually not that hard to find. Like towels, you know, maybe the hardest ones to find are the gold strike and the war trap. Oh wait, the atmas. Okay, that one's tough to find. But the gold strike and the war traps, you know, and you don't need the atmas. It just helps a lot, you know. Actually, it might not be that viable of a build without it. The atmas is very good because you know it's the only thing like a lot of my hybrid characters like they do physical damage and they do elemental damage, but if there's like something immune to both of those, they're fucked. The Atmas actually means so that you can actually deal with any situation, which is kind of cool. And so this is one of the few builds that is actually can perform in any situation that I have. But um, you know, just wanted to show this build off. It's a cool one. All right, see you later.